Right. I think that's working. Let's have a look at some charts then. I thought I might as well do. I normally do these things for Patreon members, but let's have a peep instead. So Bitcoin's banging on it on the front door of the top side of this descending. Not descending. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask. I'm not very good at that. So yeah, 41,000 incoming. It would appear where I would expect to see a rejection at that point. So I'm just getting my phone and stuff. So it's bit of an impromptu live stream. I just thought, I might as well. What the hell? Offer one out for free, you know what I mean? And it is a special day, it would appear. And I'm going to be looking at some charts anyway, because I've closed my trading bot down today for the first time. This trading bot I've had going the entire downtrend, this entire crash right up until today. It's been in range. I had to close it down today, so I'm going to look at some opportunities for new trading bots, I suppose. If I can find an uptrend versus Bitcoin, but it's kind of working pretty much how I expected it to work, which was that Bitcoin's going to outperform the market, at least in the short term, until the Bitcoin dominance chart hits a resistance. And that's when alt season should start to kick in, or alts should really start to become more appealing. I know that the market, over yesterday and I suppose some of today, we've seen some of that, but I think sats are going to start to get drained out of the market now, so and that's fine, because that's what we want. I don't want to be entering into altcoins, randomly willy-nilly until we reach at least, first level of resistance, 52% dominant. And to be honest with you, I'd be more interested around 58, 57, 58. So yeah, I had to close my trading bot down. It went out of range today, so fine, that's fair enough. It had been going on for 2 months and 21 days, which has got to be a record for a trading bot for me. Normally a trading bot would last 2 weeks, maybe a month, but yeah, that one was in range that entire time. And it didn't generate me an enormous amount of profit, I have to say. It did a modest 30%, but that's 30% extra Bitcoin that I didn't have at the beginning of this downtrend. It was about, well, I mean, I don't know how much it would be now. Anyway, not boasting or anything, I'm just saying I completely don't have any bots right now, so this is part of the reason I thought I'll have a look at some charts and see what we can do. So geez man, this is good, and I'm not here to blow my own trumpet, but I did say 4 days ago on one of those little videos, I'm trying to experiment with different things with YouTube, because my YouTube channel is pretty lame, I have to say. I'm trying to experiment with different things, and I wanted to do one of those stories, like you see that comes up on the app, And so it was like a 16-second video where I said, look, we've broken out of here. A closure above here is going to have continuation. I expected up to about 38,500. So I think we're overreaching right now. We are overreaching. Does lend itself to a pullback, I would say, to at least 38,000, if not a bit more. But I'm not, like I say, I'm not being bearish. I'm very happy that this whole thing's working. So let's just have a look at some of these indicators to see if there's any little telltale signs going on here. Check, and then I'm going to start looking at altcoins, because that's what I was going to do anyway. But if you want me to look at altcoins on your behalf, because this is a freebie, I suppose you can ask me. But if you want me to prioritize your message, you can send me a little tidbit, but I'm not asking for it. So just pile in your questions below, and I'll have a look. Right, RSI is looking pretty high on the hourly, but the money flow index isn't looking that high at all, actually. So this is, in my opinion, should reach 41,000, and then maybe even a bit further than that. That's just the hourly. Let's just check the 4 hourly to see if there's any rhythm on that one. Look at that. I mean, it's just an unbelievable power. Definitely could still reach 41 and above, and obviously the daily suggests that too. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's looking pretty impressive, but like I say, the thing to think about is this. So this is, I suppose, it's not worked exactly to the perfect plan, but the plan is still working, well, reasonably perfectly. I'm not going to entertain an altcoin position or a new one until we reach these levels, but that doesn't mean that there's no money to be made in altcoins. Right, so someone wants me to have a look. Check out XRP, USDT. Okay, yeah, no worries. Let's have a peep at that. I'm a believer in XRP anyway, so let's have a look and see how this is faring up. And if you don't mind, I'm going to look at it versus Bitcoin as well, not just USDT. We'll just check the Binance chart. Right, let's have a peep at these. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, it's done really well. It's underperforming, or should I say, not underperforming. It's cruel the thing to say, isn't it? It's being outperformed by Bitcoin, which is what I expect of Bitcoin at the moment anyway. When Bitcoin dominance is this low, there's more room to move to the up. So the top of the Bollinger Band here, we're also just about to reach the cloud, and the 50 exponential moving average. This should bring us up to about 68, 69 before the rejection kicks in. Let's just bring this down to the 4 hourly, because 4 hourly is where a lot of these moves are really. Yes, this is nice to see. So we reclaimed. Look at this today. So the battle has been fought, and so far has been won. We've taken the enemy trenches of the 200 exponential. So rejection on the first pass, support, and then move up from there. So every day above a 200 exponential is good, and so this is a good sign. But it's by no means as good as Bitcoin's, which is already golden crossed here already just as of today. I mean, I knew this was going to happen soon, given the power of the move in the last 24 to 48 hours. But I mean, we've already hit it. It's already happened. So normally what I would expect in a golden cross anyway is a dump into it. It doesn't necessarily have to come straight down to it, down all the way down to 33. It doesn't have to happen like that. But a retest of these moving averages down here is likely to happen. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do see quite a large sell-off. And with that in mind, let's transfer that expectation onto XRP. XRP, obviously no golden cross in sight, but 61 cents could easily get tagged on that sell-off. It's too early to say exactly how this is all going to play out, but I'm pretty hopeful in the way that this is still in. And I'm just going to get to the daily on Bitcoin, just a bit of context anyway. So the daily, we've got this inside range to which the majority of the price action is getting a bit messy. Let's turn this off. The majority of the price action has taken place in the inside range of what we have been considering so far the accumulation zone, right? There's also an outside range, which is this red to this green, but the majority of the price action has taken place within this zone. And because of that, this is what I was expecting us to reaccumulate in here. Now this looks like a double bottom. This now is going to come up to here where I think we're going to get rejection, but we're not going to get moon-sized moves, as in like massive breakouts until we take out the 49,000. So we've got a long way to go for Bitcoin, and probably another month's worth of sideways action, but volatile, and large range. This accumulation zone is like 70% large, right? Which sounds big, but we trade altcoins on this channel all the time with some accumulation ranges of 200-300% range, so that's no big deal. But back to XRP, the daily is basically showing that it's just copying Bitcoin, and the rest of the market is probably doing exactly the same. Altcoins aren't really ready. XRP is definitely an outlier. It does do its own thing, but it's basically mimicking Bitcoin without the conviction that Bitcoin's got. So this is where we'll tell, and we'll see if there's anything significant going on. Not really. So you can see here, I mean, this puts it into context when you look at this. And this is actually quite worrying. We've got a death cross coming in as well for XRP versus Bitcoin on the daily. So, that's not very good to see, to be honest with you. You've got short signal here on the Ichimoku cloud. So, classic example of what is likely to happen with a lot of altcoins, in my opinion, in the short to medium term. It might sound a bit depressing, that, but it doesn't look particularly good. It doesn't mean that it can't trend with the market, or should I say trend, in the shadow of Bitcoin, which is what it's going to do. But it's not going to outperform Bitcoin at this rate. It's not going to do it. There's no buy signals on it. There's just actually short signals on the Bitcoin pairing. And when we come to Tether, I mean, it's okay. The 4 hourly is good, but it's not like Bitcoin. It's just not. Right, so that's that one out of the way. Any more for any more? So give it some thumbs up. Let's see if we can get some momentum building on this, because I don't do live streams for freebies like this. I only actually do them for my Patreon users. But it's a special day, so let's go crazy. Right, who else have we got here? What have we got? Algo bot. Yeah, my Algo bot's closed. Yeah, I closed it today. It was Algo to BTC. Yeah, been going for a long time. 30% profit in this correction dump reaccumulation, whatever you call it. So I ended up with, it was about 0.57 of a Bitcoin went into it. Obviously when Bitcoin was worth more, so take that for what it's worth. But now it generated close to 0.2 Bitcoin throughout this entire dump period. So I'm okay with that. So now that's all been sold. You know, I've got more Bitcoin than I had when I started, just sitting around doing nothing essentially. But it was sad to see it go, because I think that was the longest bot I've ever had running. I've never had a bot that's run that long. Right. What else have we got? How am I feeling about EOS for the rest of the year? Oh, shall we have a look? This is supposed to be a special day. Why get depressed over something like EOS? But let's not think about it too bad. What's it? USD. So this again is one of those other coins which is a frustrating beast. It's being outperformed by Bitcoin. So exactly the same deal as XRP, but a much worse chart. So we look at this on Bitcoin pairing, death cross over here, all the way down. If we look at this on XRP, a death cross just incoming now. So let's just hope that it doesn't kick it even further. That might mean that, you know, EOS could bottom out sooner. But I'm not really feeling it. I'm going to choose, to be honest with you, to look at the majority of any coin that you want me to look at tonight with the Bitcoin pairing, because those who watch my channel anyway, I'm assuming most of you do, but those who watch my channel, I go on about this all the time. The Bitcoin dominance chart, it's bouncing, it's bottomed, it's reversing, and altcoins are going to get, you know, hurt, to be honest with you. A majority of them hurt versus the Bitcoin. So that basically just means that Bitcoin's going to outperform. Doesn't mean that your altcoin's going to zero. Doesn't mean that. It would likely mean that if we continued to dump and this went up. It doesn't really matter if Bitcoin goes up or down or even sideways. This chart to me speaks that it's going to go up, which means that altcoins are going to outperform, be outperformed by Bitcoin. So EOS is a classic example of that. And to be honest with you, there's nothing about this chart that looks good at all. Let's just check the weekly. It's pretty awful actually. So the weekly, yeah, I mean, there's nothing about it. We're below all major moving averages on the weekly, death cross on the daily. It doesn't look good at all. But again, versus Tether, yeah, it's pumping up a little bit. You know, it's you know, I suppose it's not losing money. It's just losing sats, which is a whole different ball game altogether. But if you think about what we're looking at here, we're below all major moving averages on the weekly there, and on the daily. We are pretty much just reclaimed the centre of the Bollinger Band. Really, really weak stuff, to be honest with you. Really weak stuff. Looks like a bottom was formed, definitely, though, around $3.20. And we've had this, you know, I've been looking at this for a long time, you know, on the channel. And it does like to respect previous moving averages and supports and resistances. You might have more analysis on my actual Binance app, actually, because I've not really looked at it since I've been using a HyperTrader. So yeah, it's already up there. Let's have a look at what's going on here, and it'll make more sense, I suppose, because I've got more things drawn out on this here, and it makes more sense on the weekly. So this is very simple to think about on the weekly versus Tether. We have all the way back down here, in fact, our bottom level of support, and I've forgotten how to use it. So yeah, that's worked so far so good. So I've not used Binance in a while. So this has worked so far so good for a support. So it does respect supports and resistances. I would expect the next resistance to be just short of $5. And then after that, I'm not going to get bullish. I mean, like, really bullish. And this is when EOS will go into like a turbo bull mode, when it reclaims $3.34, $3.40. Because previously what we used to see was a big run up, resistance, move back down to what the previous support was, big run up, up to new resistance, or even resistance there, all the way back down to previous resistance. The support now is previous resistance, and this is what I was expecting before. But then we had the enormous crash, and what happened is we went back down to this level, this previous level down here, way down here, which was again previous resistance, now flipped to support. So it still does respect the supports and resistances. There's method in this madness. You know, people think of it as like a dead token or whatever, but at least it's being traded appropriately. Do you know what I mean? It's not just your average complete shitcoin or anything like that. It is being traded. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to hang on to these levels so nicely. I mean, they are very neat. It's like a game of Tetris. Do you know what I mean? Things slot together with this chart when you look at it on the weekly. So yeah, resistance will be here, break above there, all the way up to $7.20, and if we break out from there, then it would be moon time. And I mean it. I'm not joking. I'm not just saying this to please you. I do like EOS, and EOS will actually go on to make significant new highs, but there's no buy signals on it right now, so we can't really say it. And even without buy signals, it can move, but if it and when it breaks $7.20, $7.40, I'd say maybe, then yeah, we'll get another one of those enormous moves that people will stare at and go, what's going on with EOS? Where should I buy it? And you're like, well, you don't buy it like this, because it pumps and it dumps. That's what it likes to do. So hopefully we can continue with a new trend, but for the moment there's nothing to suggest that an actual trend of its own is kicking in. Probably won't happen until we get out of this cloud. So I'm not expecting anything from EOS on its own accord, unless the bullish exchange launches and it just gets pumped as a matter of default. On its own accord, this chart looks pretty weak and will need to reaccumulate for a prolonged period of time. And towards the end of this year, I would imagine we'll be outside of this cloud. We might get some nice signals, but we're not going to get anything looking at this right now. It's not showing anything at all. Right, so that was your EOS for you. Where else are we? I got a question for my guy. Go on, give me the question. Is it all the way down here, is it? Someone's asked me for Polygon, so we'll get back to you. Alright, Polygon. I can't get used to that. It's just such a terrible name. I think it might be because I got so used to trading Matic back in the old days. It's just Matic, alright? It's Matic. Why do they change the name? Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, Matic's a good name. I like that. Polygon's such a crap name, I have to say. It's a crap name. Right, so this is looking okay on the daily here. So we never got our death cross with Matic, so it avoided a death cross the entire time. Doesn't mean that it's not weak. It just means that as far as being uber bearish, it never broke down from that level. And if it were to have done that, if you were to go into a bear market, Matic would, and we could still be in a bear market, let's face it, but if we were to break down from here and get death crosses, we'd have a full retracement like you see with some of these other parabolic coins. But Matic never did that. What was this from top to bottom? It must have been about 50. Oh no, it's a lot more on its wick down. Oh yeah, I didn't realize it went down that low. So yeah, 76% retracement. It's quite a lot. So at the moment, a modest 58%. So yeah, nothing on this chart to suggest anything other than trending with the market. I have to say, it's just trending with the market, but it's better in the form of moving averages. We've reclaimed almost all of them. A dump down from here should find a catch a bounce around 80 at best. Like I say, if we do dump, if Bitcoin dumps, it's already having a little bit of a pullback now, but if it comes down to about 36,000, which seems fair, 36,500 maybe, yeah. Then yeah, we'll be looking for either a retest of the Bollinger Band Center, 13, which is 93 cents, to maybe 79 cents, 80 cents. But again, just to reiterate, these coins aren't doing their own thing, and none of this is its own thing. It's all based around Bitcoin's health. It's all Bitcoin's doing, which is why you can trade altcoins, you can play with altcoins, but the main thing to consider is this: we can start to really trade altcoins when we hit these levels. And things like Matic, right? So Matic's done, since I first bought it, from the bottom to the top, that's 300%. And I'm not saying I made 300%. I'm not saying that I didn't. I was selling all the way up, and I've sold it many times. I did all those pumps in the beginning, and I sold it all the way up on this last thing. And I actually don't have any. I don't have any. And this channel was based around Matic a couple of years ago. It's all I used to go on about because it was such a good coin to trade. But yeah, Matic's already done an enormous move, right? I'm not saying that it can't do more, but I'm more interested in these tiny little coins, the ones that haven't done those moves, the next Matics, which is why I've cranked up a Qcoin account, because it would appear that a lot of those opportunities are on Qcoin rather than Binance these days. So and it's at these levels of the Bitcoin dominance chart where we can start to really look at those seriously, and we'll look at them versus their Bitcoin pairings mostly, I would say. So we'll just get rid of that, and we'll just go to Matic versus Bitcoin. That's annoying. Pretty much the same thing, a little bit weaker as far as the chart's concerned, not reclaimed the centre of this Bollinger Band yet. So yeah, a little bit weaker, but we are turning up. Let's have a look if we've got any relevance on this RSI. Not really. It's a little messy. And to be honest with you, it looks like it's just bouncing from a severely oversold area also. So I'm not the biggest bull on Matic right now. It is trending with the market. The rest of the market's trending. It's all trending together, and the whole thing's trending as one. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, throw some more likes in there, people. I'll be very appreciative. What else we got? Seller Network would be a good shout, as it will destroy Matic, or even check out Vechain. I'll check them both out for you. So yeah, I mean, Matic, Seller, and Harmony One are basically, they're not the same thing, but they are more or less. They were very correlated back in the olden days. Less so now that Matic's turned into like a superstar and rebranded itself as Polygon. But at the same time, they're not really benefiting from that kind of relationship anymore. They were all trying to solve the same issue, and I think there was partnerships, wasn't there, between Seller and Matic, so it's not really helping it. Incoming death cross here on the daily. I'm not saying that that's massively bearish, but as far as the chart's concerned, rejection here and below all major moving averages on the daily, so being outperformed by Bitcoin massively. It's down 9%, so I know where my money would rather be. But versus Tether, it's gone up, 4%, so fair enough, but there's a death cross here. It's going to take a period of accumulation. Let's have a look at these supports and resistances on Seller. So yeah, there's a lot of altcoins kind of look the same, and it's kind of almost how Bitcoin looks, right? So Bitcoin looks like this, really. So we had this peak and then a parabolic run, so our peak and then a continuation of the run, and then that is the level that seems to hold. But so far, the bounces have been bigger each time, lesser each time. So it's showing consolidation continuing. Now this could be the end of that consolidation, definitely. Not much rhythm to that, I have to say. Although there might be a little bit. So if this is the case, we could go, if we are lucky, we could go into a period of accumulation here. Whoa, that's not what I'm supposed to do that. We could go into a period of accumulation here, and if we did, it would probably be bouncing around here and be volatile, and retest this bottom line of support a few times. It would be frustrating, really frustrating to trade it, but over time I'm sure it's going to do okay. But based upon this chart, especially the Bitcoin pairing chart, it's clear that there's no entry point on this one yet. And there won't be an entry point on this one, I expect, until the Bitcoin dominance chart hits a resistance. And again, I'm going to come back to it all the time, just to hit it home. And for those who watch my channel, I've been going on about this all the time. This has been my strategy. I said the lower Bitcoin dominance goes, the more risk we take with holding altcoins, whether that's if Bitcoin takes the lead or if the market dumps. And to a large extent, we were lucky hedging into Bitcoin as much as we did at the top of Bitcoin's peak from that altcoin season, because we would have got hit a hell of a lot harder than most people are going to be down significantly for a prolonged period of time. Like I said, I don't think we're going to get an alt season for at least a few months, probably towards the end of the year. I predicted roughly between October area, feels about right, when the next alt season will be, and that's when I'll be rotating my Bitcoin and spending some more Tether on some of these altcoins. So that's your seller for you. Like I say, there's nothing great about that right now. I saw someone's banging on about VRA. Let's have a look at VRA, shall we? So, a nice move today so far. Let's get rid of some of these. We'll have a look at VRA. So I'm interested in VRA. I am definitely interested in it, because this is one of those coins where I do feel that there will be an enormous move from it. Not to say that there hasn't already been one. Alright, so we've done the same... Good God, we've done the same kind of vibe going on in this one. So look, this has kind of worked out pretty well already. I've not even looked at it for a while. This chart I actually haven't looked at for a couple of months, or maybe even a month now, when I was talking about when we're thinking about getting into this. So it just shows how you can trade charts appropriately, even things like this, high risk ones, if you pay attention to it. I like the way that when the market dumps, people talk about the market and crypto being a scam and rug pull and this, that, and it's all fun and games, and it is really fun and games, but You can have a simple whack of lines and moving averages and a Chiku span and an Ichi cloud, and they can bang them all together with the RSI and the MACD, and it does make sense. And this one does make sense. So basically, the reason I'm ranting is because we've had this very significant and clean-cut clean-cut level of resistance, and I was saying, look, if we break down from here, we go down lower. If we come out of here, we go into a phase of accumulation, and that's what's likely to happen now. So just like we were saying with Seller, it's going to a period of accumulation. Now, you could think that this is doing well, which it is. There's 25% move. You can't really complain with that. If you'd have bought, these lows, that's called catching a knife. If you want to get in at an appropriate time, you wait for this chart to turn, and in turning is basically, I would be looking at this. We've reclaimed the 200 exponential so far. We'd be waiting for a golden cross on that, and we could play perhaps maybe an Ichi cloud signal on this one for what it's worth. How are we going to get one of those? We're not going to get a decent one on this because the cross was below the cloud. So this move is largely played out, I would say. So that means that I'm more interested in waiting for a daily signal to kick in. And I don't think we're going to get one of those without a period of accumulation that's going to go on for, again, just like Seller and all these other small caps, for a period of 2, maybe 3 months. Bring this up to around about October. And then we will start to see another rally that will dwarf this one, I expect, just because of the nature of it. But for the moment, we're not going to get that. Let's just have a quick look at the weekly, if there's any information on the weekly that's any use to us. Not really. But it is nice to see that we've reclaimed, first of all, this level here of previous support. We're outside of this level of resistance, which is now offering us a period of accumulation. If that's what you want to do, it's going to be very volatile, very volatile. And so for that, I would rather trade this one based on a buy signal, which we don't have. I don't want to be buying into this sitting and waiting while Bitcoin and some of these top caps are moving like no tomorrow, where I could be thinking, oh, I should have just got into Bitcoin because that's done 100% or whatever, and VRA's not done anything, which I'm not saying it's not going to do anything, but it's just going to be up and down all over the place while it accumulates. And then when we get the buy signal, you just go from that position into VRA, and you do what was likely to be a giant move. Even if we were to do this kind of move up here, there's 300% just from here to the top. We'll probably dwarf this. I know that sounds silly, but I think we really will. But for the moment, I'm not really feeling anything specific about this one, other than it's encouraging to see that this one's moved dramatically with the market and reclaimed these zones. But again, you compared this chart to Bitcoin's chart, and Bitcoin wins. It wins. It wins. And this is why I've been saying this whole time, just focus on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to turn the market around, and the rest of it will just follow with that. So, any more for any more? I saw VRA was just a big shout there, so had to be done. Should I sell my VRA or try and... I can't answer those kind of questions. But that's how I see the market, and look, it's not how I see it. This is how the market is right now. That's what it is doing. Like I say, we keep comparing Bitcoin to anything else. Bitcoin's got the better chart. It's obvious that Bitcoin has created this pump for the market, and so for that, it's going to be difficult looking at other charts and going, should I? Because the main thing to focus on is this chart, which is, all right, we can monitor things versus the Bitcoin pairings. That's when you start to make some real cash, when we do the rotation, and there's signals all over the place. But for the moment, Bitcoin is the king, and that's fine. So let's have a quick look at some more of these. CNS. Oh, I don't have the capacity to bring that up, but maybe I'll make a video on that another time. Just for fun. Right, EOS is still a good buy. Look, if you consider the news of the bullish exchange, having an effect, then yeah, it's a good buy. And I see the chart making a full reversal anyway, but what I'm trying to hit home to everybody is that when the market is following Bitcoin and the Bitcoin dominance is going to go to these levels before it gets rejected, you only really want to get into any kind of altcoin position, especially a weak one like EOS, when you hit a level of resistance on this chart. And we're not going to get one of those for, well, we don't know when it will happen, but we'll get there, and that's when we start to sniff out all these other opportunities. But yeah, you could buy it now and you will end up doing all right out of it. But the problem is that if you want to trade it, then you'll be frustrated because other charts will be outperforming basically Bitcoin and Ethereum. Do you know what I mean? But EOS will probably pound for pound or dollar for dollar. You'll probably get more value for it in the long term if you don't mind just buying and holding until the bitter end, and just as long as you don't stare at your charts every day or your balance, for instance, then you'll be all right. Right, just so you know, stream open to the public. Yeah, I know this isn't a Patreon stream. This is a freebie because it's a special day. You know, it's a special day. We're having a turnaround. You know what I mean? EOS fans are here. Yeah, my channel's got a bit of an EOS following. Vechain, go on then. Let's have a peep at that. Bet. It's been a while, hasn't it, since I checked that. USDT. And get the magical Bitcoin pairing up as well, because this is going to tell us who's the best. So Vechain's done well, and anything that's up versus Bitcoin is good, not just for today, but generally speaking. So we'll just have a look at the daily to start with, and we'll work our way down, and we'll start with the Bitcoin pairing. So avoided the death cross, so a lot stronger than some of these other things that we've seen, like EOS, for example, got a death cross a long time ago, and this is just, like I say, this is a Bitcoin pairing, but we were below the 200 exponential, so we've not reclaimed that. So and we're all still more or less facing down, so we can't get too excited about it. We're turning up on the MACD, we're turning up on everything. In fact, do we have a handle on this? Yeah, we do, I suppose. Yeah, we could consider this a breakout. So yeah, I think there's probably more to be made on Vechain, at least in the short term, versus Bitcoin. And once this consolidation on this chart itself, specifically this chart, breaks, then it'll be even better, and we're going to our own rally. And this is the main thing that we're trying to put across. We need to get into our own rallies for altcoins, otherwise altcoins will literally just trend with the market. So it'd be frustrating to say this is a good chart when basically they're all just being dragged to the top by Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is clearly outperforming the vast majority of altcoins. But this one looks better than most. We're still technically consolidating, I would say. We're going to consolidate until we break out of here. But remember, this is a Bitcoin pairing, so it doesn't mean that we can't make money. You can make money from this one, but you're not going to make huge parabolic returns until we at least come out of here. And even when we do come out of here, we'll see, in my expectation, a period of accumulation, which is probably going to coincide with when we hit this or this, and then and it's at that point where these reaccumulations become rallies of their own. So yeah, it's better than most. It's definitely worth looking at. It's definitely worth paying attention to. It's not weak, for instance, and so it'll do its thing before other things. And so long as we stay above this support line, and when we break out of here, we've got a huge red cloud to take out as well on the daily. So this is another reason why I'm saying don't expect a great deal from altcoins, because most of them look very much the same. So we had this signal from 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, so that's 16. All right, so yeah, that's largely played out. I would say that was pretty much played out now, that signal. No golden cross forming on the 4 hourly. So again, Bitcoin's chart is way better than the others, way ahead. So it's a stronger chart. It's going to outperform the vast majority of altcoins as a result of having the best looking chart. Do you know what I mean? Altcoins, there's a time and a place for them, but for the moment, there's not really a place. Right, if I was all in USDT right now, how would you play it from here? Well, I mean, that question is a bit dodgy because I'm scared that you'll go off and do what I would say I would do. So, obviously, this wouldn't be financial advice, you all know that, right? But if I had some spare cash, the way I would play it is one of two ways. I would try to either ride Bitcoin, obviously not buying in now, that would be ridiculous, but it doesn't mean that I don't expect it to continue to move up, but buying in right now it's crazy, right? We're getting rejected, I would imagine, from this zone here, but if this is a daily itchy cloud strategy, then I would imagine we will probably break out of here over the coming 4 to 6 weeks and go back to the top of this reaccumulation zone, 49,000. But I do expect us to come back down, if not all the way back down to where this breakout was, between 35,000, 36,000 ish area, maybe throughout this week at some point. This seems pretty okay to me. However, it might not happen. So what I would do in answer to your question, I would continue to load up on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, in my opinion, is the safer one, the one with a stronger chart, the one that's leading the market, it's moving the entire market. And then when some of these other opportunities become available, then you alternate from your Bitcoin to the altcoins, just like what we did in January. It's a very easy game of support and resistance. We've always been able to do this on the channel. We had a descending trend down here. You go into altcoins here at some kind of rejection, something support, you'd go back into altcoins. Over here, back into altcoins, into Bitcoin here, into altcoins here, into Bitcoin here. I would say into altcoins here, and if that doesn't work out, into altcoins here. These are your entry points for altcoins, right? Then you don't just enter them willy-nilly, especially when the dominance chart is this low. Look, this is a multi-year chart. We're on the weekly here. So let's just have a look at how this has performed. So this was bear market, right? So altcoins, massive alt season. You know, if you were around back then, it was amazing. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Not even this last alt season has been amazing, and we nailed it. We were all in right from the beginning. So we called it. But it's not like I called it. This chart it tells you what to do, really. It just tells you what to do. So, but this was horrendous for altcoins, and this is why you look at some altcoin charts most. Actually, if you zoom out on a weekly or a monthly, you'll have a look at those altcoin charts, and they'll just be all the way down, right? Still to this day, because Bitcoin ends up being king for the vast majority, if not all altcoins, right? There's not many altcoin charts out there that just generally go up. There is a few. Chainlink is one of them, actually, but there's not many. They're very rare, and so yeah, I've lost my train of thought. But you know, this is how you play the game anyway. So of altcoins, right? So we can focus on the ones now. We can look at them, and that's the important thing to do. Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And so when it comes round to the time that it's time to alternate into altcoins, or just buy altcoins in general, you want to know which ones you're going to get the best bang for your buck for. You want to have some top caps, mid caps, and some small caps, and just spread it out. And that's what I would do if I were you. If you don't want to buy Bitcoin now, if you're too afraid to buy it because it's going up, or you can't find the entry point, or if Bitcoin just continues to go up and you feel like you've missed the boat, then feel safe in the knowledge that you've not missed the altcoin boat, because the alt seasons will be here or here, and worst case scenario, we continue all the way up to here, and then we will get an amazing alt season. So never be all in, never be all out. That's pretty much my motto. So yeah, that's two things I would do if I were you, if I had Tether, and I do have Tether. I always have Tether. Right, let's have a look at a few more questions, and then I think we'll just leave it. It was just a quick freebie, do you know what I mean? There's no need to go into too much detail about stuff. Right, Solana. Alright, let's have a look at that. Solana. Have we... It's a bit sticky, this computer's a bit sticky at the moment. Right, so for the moment Solana's lagging behind Bitcoin, so it's not one of the stronger ones at present. Daily avoided the death cross. So
show me a shite coin, boys.
What the heck? Oh, my bloody Telegram group. Sorry about that. Right. There are some degenerates on there, but they're all nice people. Right, so Solana, very much like any other altcoin really, this is I would say our wedge. It's not even a wedge, it's our support resistances that's measured by candle bodies rather than wicks. I'd probably give it around here, so we're still within here, making our way to the apex. This is, and it's like I say, let's put things straight. This is better than most, right? It's a better chart than most. From the very peak to the absolute bottom wick, it's only a 65% drop. It's not that bad in comparison to others. But if we just bear that and put that into context with this, we must have already looked at this at some point. We've broken down below this uptrend of support, so that's not good. And we're probably heading down towards the 65,000 sats area. The 200 exponential is probably going to have it, and we'll probably find a decent bounce around there. But yeah, this downtrend, this consolidation on Bitcoin pairing, on its Satoshi pairings, is still playing out. So it's it just another I suppose piece of evidence to suggest that Bitcoin is the king, is the leader. It's going to dominate the market for at least the next month or two. in an uptrend or in a downtrend, and so your money's best off in Bitcoin. So it's just another one of those charts which just, it's more fuel to the fire really for the overall theory, which is what I've been going on about this whole time. Every time I talk about an altcoin, I have to go back and say the same thing, like you never heard me in the first place. So yeah, 65,000 sats seems like an okay place to catch a bounce from it, but that's what it would be. It would be a bounce, and hopefully it would be a bottom. It may not be, but it could be. Yeah, don't really need to look at these things to know that it's just going to continue to go down, essentially still consolidate. But let's separate the two things together. So this means that Bitcoin's going to outperform Solana, in the short term. But it doesn't mean that Solana's not going to work out okay, and it's not going to work out okay against the dollar or whatever. It should be okay. It's not the strongest chart, but it's not shown the weakest of all the things we've looked at. We've still managed to hold up most of the time above the 200 exponential, which is a good place to be, because it basically means we avoid any kind of death cross and significant continuation of a downtrend. So yeah, hopefully we'll break out of this apex to the up, but if Bitcoin does retrace to the extent I think it is, so it's already doing it now, actually you can see it's already doing it now. A closure below this 200 exponential, by the way, is likely to have continuation back down to the breakout point, but that's no big deal. I'm not concerned about that at all, because again, this is all accumulation. We're back inside the inside range. Even the outside range was never broken, so the bear market was close, but it never kicked in. So we were still okay, and the majority of the price action should take place within here, but this entire range here is accumulation. But yeah, Solana, like I say, it will be okay, I think. But for the moment, it's still consolidating on both Bitcoin and USDT pairs. So, but I'm not concerned. I'm just trying to emphasize the point that Bitcoin will be the place to be, at least for the short term. Whether that's in an up or a down or a sideways market, it's still going to be the best place to be. And then we can flip into these sort of things when the time's right. It's like I say, I've held on to that theory for a long time, and like I say, today it becomes even more obvious than it was in the downtrend. Right. If I was to buy in at 60 cent with 50x leverage, now run up to 65 cent, you would have made a little. Would you take profit and buy back? If I was going 50x on anything and it had gone up by that much, I would take profit. Yeah. Oh my god, 50x? You're crazy. 50x's aren't meant to be held for any prolonged period of time. But that's your method of trading, not mine. I don't do that sort of thing. That's madness. That's pure madness. I don't even need to know what you're talking about, to be honest with you. This tells me everything, which is basically be happy with what you've got and get out. Just get out. That's what I would do. Long-term trades are always my preference with leverage. And you might think I'm a weirdo, but I don't see any problem with using a 1x leverage. You know what I mean? Especially on coin futures anyway. If there's a coin that I want lots of, like XRP, I'll take a 1x leverage on it. No problem. No problem at all. It's all extra XRP. Do you know what I mean? It's all extra. But 50x, you shouldn't really be in that trade for any prolonged period of time. An hour, 2 hours, until the trend has reached its peak. And if you have not mapped out the chart yourself to know when you're going to take profit on a 50x leverage trade, yeah, I would. Alright, so there's a SEC hearing, is there, tomorrow? Well, I mean, that's a trade that can't be accounted for. So that as well, that's like a gamble, isn't it? So I don't know if you like gambling, but it sounds like you do. There's a SEC hearing. What does that really mean, though? What does it mean? It doesn't appear to be priced in right now, does it? Because it's not outperforming Bitcoin, and that sort of event is like any buy the rumor, sell the news event. It should be priced in prior to the event taking place, and it doesn't appear to be. Bitcoin is dragging XRP up. XRP is not outperforming anything right now. It's just going up a little bit. So if you want to gamble on stuff, that's fine. And that's essentially what this would be. If you're doing 50x in anticipation for something taking place tomorrow, it is a gamble. And I would expect a liquidation, to be honest, on something like that. That's kind of crazy. But Look, I see people on my trading group doing epic trades all the time, or should I say, getting epic results all the time with large leverage. So it's not for me to say if it's the best or the worst thing to do. It's definitely not anything I would do. So if I were to advise, which is not what I'm here to do, because I'm not a financial advisor, I would advise you get the hell out of that trade. But yeah, that's your call, really. Where do I think the new bottom is for Bitcoin? Well, if you watch my channel, I spoke about this and I was talking about it on the live stream last week. If we think about this, I will put it on the weekly, it'll be easier to see. So it's a similar kind of vibe going on here. We spoke about how this could be a double bottom. So this is our previous supports from, which should have been the peak, right? The only reason I think it continued to go up like this was because there was so much money being made with altcoins, and there was lots of people taking profit into Bitcoin, like myself, and then a few, the last dregs of retailers entering the market. But this was the peak. If you base this on the money flow index read, this always gets a good peak, and this is the top. So this is 2017, this is 2019, 2020 to 21, and that should have been the peak. But because at the same time that happened, we had this peak here, which is the Bitcoin dominance chart. It was rude not to enter altcoins, in large quantities at this level, and it added an enormous amount of value to whoever did do that, and that didn't register on this chart. So we got our peak for Bitcoin, but even then we did get higher prices. But the reason I'm bringing this up is that we get these peaks on the money flow index on the weekly rarely, and they do often tell us to get out of the trade, which would have been appropriate because we did reach a peak on the chart, and there was a peak here and obviously a peak here. So the bottom was formed on this peak over here because we revisited a very serious and long-standing level of support. So bang, 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 6,600 more or less. And so when we had this big peak here, we did have a double bottom form here, bang there, and another one there, and then we launched. And so I was expecting the same kind of, a good chance that would happen again, because we had a significant area of support here. We had a decent test and a retest, and then obviously we had the breakout of this. It makes more sense on the daily. So I think the bottom is probably in, to be honest with you. I do think the bottom is in now. It looks very obvious on a number of ways. So I'll just count them out for you. So the first thing, we broke out of this descending wedge formation, a bullish formation. When they break to the up, they break well, and it's proven to have done that. We also had a breakout of this of the RSI, multi-month rejection and a breakout. And that's proven to change the momentum seriously. There's a big change of momentum already. We go to a 4-hourly, what we see is that we've reclaimed moving averages. We've also got a golden cross pretty much being formed as we speak. So that's another hallmark. So that's 3 things in the favour of the bulls there. And not just in favour of bulls, but in favour of strength, a change of direction, right? But we're still within the accumulation range, which is between 41,000 and 33,000, and the outside range, which is 28,000 to 49,000. So so long as we're still in this large range, it's still accumulation. And if this is accumulation, then it does lend itself to quite a large move once it breaks out of here. And people who talk about, and I'm not a moon boy, so I do things level by level, and I don't know where the tops are until certain things get overheated, and we look at how far it can go from here. So it's difficult to put a figure on it, but if you think about this as an accumulation and this being the breakout of an accumulation, 100% there, that's just short of 100 grand, and then it won't take much for large increases on the dollar value, really, for what's 10% of 100 grand, 110 grand. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't take much to start to make some really serious money after there. So when people tell me, we might hit $300,000 at the end of this year or into next year, it's not unrealistic. It's just not something I would say was definitely going to happen, because that's not how I trade. I trade level by level, and I look at how overheated certain oscillators and things are. So, and then I would say it's getting a little bit too hot here. Let's scale out at least. Let's start taking some decent profit. But yeah, I think the only way is up from this low here, but I think it'll still take a bit of time for us to reaccumulate and have the real power to start moving up. At the moment, we're still below this 200 exponential, which is no big deal. Right, what else have we got here? And then I'll just call it a day. So The ex-SEC chairman is on the stand tomorrow to confirm whether or not secure. Right. Okay. So it is a big deal tomorrow. So that sounds good. Has BEPRO been looked at yet? No, it's not. Tell you what, we'll finish on BEPRO, shall we? And then we'll leave it. So yeah, Bitcoin dumping. That's, like I said, beginning of the stream, exactly what I expect. 35 to 36,000. Almost certainly going to get hit. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. We've done a very big. This week has been brilliant, and it's nice to see. And I think that the bottom is in. But yeah, a dump from here is fine. It's no problem. This isn't so much a dump. This is this is overextended price action coming back down to earth. It's fine. Right, let's have a look at BEPRO and then we'll call it a night. But if you like these kind of live streams, I do have a Patreon channel. You can get these twice a week, £7.50 a month. So for anyone who's I suppose putting sending me donations, you get better value for joining the Patreon. Definitely £7.50 for a month. You get 2 live streams a week, so that's what, 8 live streams a month. You usually go on for about 2 hours a piece. BEPRO. Alright, we'll get rid of some of this stuff we don't need anymore. Right, BEPRO. So yeah, another one has done a really nice move. So 4 hourly golden cross already in the crosshairs. Brilliant. What was that so far? So it's gone down a lot. It's only 10% up at the moment, but that's no big deal. It's not what it is. It's what it's achieved. So it's achieved something decent there. So let's go to the daily, because I did have a very brief. Right, so this one's done better than I thought it was. I was hoping for a lot larger breakdown from here to these levels here. And it's not that I was hoping for it. It's just I was scared that it would happen, because it could have happened. It could have happened. Because these don't look much, but they are big. From here to that first level, that's a 67% retracement. That's a 93% retracement from where it's already been already. And let's face it, this chart had collapsed into its own shadow from top to bottom. That was a 95% retracement. So pretty awful stuff, to be honest with you. Pretty awful. But this is one of the reasons I like to look at it, because charts like this do offer opportunity, but at the moment the opportunity is not here. For those who want to FOMO into things like this, I would certainly suggest that it's not a great idea, although it might work out well for you. It's a gamble. What I like that I'm seeing here is that this portion of the cloud is going green. So this is stage 1 of 4 stages of an Ichimoku cloud buy signal, which isn't a continuation of trend, but it's a change of trend. So we've got this going here. We need the price action to be above here. We also need the Chiku span to be above here. So if we were to measure out, if we're going to lag around these zones, when is the Chiku span going to get out of here? The earliest would be another 39 days, right? So a month from now we might get a signal to suggest another big move up. It wouldn't be a trend, it would be a big stab, and I would expect that would bring us either up to the previous supports down here, which is a big move. So let's just think about where we are right now. Again, I expect BEPRO to come down with the rest of the market. 65% move to there, to the maximum I'd say to this resistance level, which also corresponds there to a 161% move from there. In about like I say, just short of just over a month from now, we might get a signal to suggest a move of that size. We're not getting it right now, but we are getting the makings of one of those signals. For the moment, it's just like anything else. I would wait and watch for this to mature. There's no harm in watching an uptrend form and wishing that you'd got in at the bottom of it. You want an uptrend to form so you can look at it and go, "There's an uptrend there. Let's have a bit of that." You don't just FOMO in because you see something going up. It's looking okay. It's definitely looking better than I expected it to look. So let's bring it up back to Bitcoin's pairing. Same deal going on Bitcoin on the 4 hourly. So we've got a golden cross here. So the charts are pretty much exactly the same from what I can see here. Not much difference between the two. Yeah, they're both forming the same kind of shape, which means that this could be the bottom. It might not be, but it could be. But if it isn't the bottom, then it could get seriously hurt. So it's a decent looking chart in its own right. It doesn't mean it wants to be bought right now. Something like this that offers such significant upside, if you catch it at the right moment. If I put 1 Bitcoin into this at the right time from the level that we're at right now, I'd have 5 Bitcoins back by the end of the run, and then I'd probably get more because I expect this to go on beyond that. But between now and the time we get the signal, it could do anything. It could do anything. And Bitcoin is the king. Bitcoin's governing the market. So we look at these sort of things and wait for the buy signals. You don't go in on something like this just randomly. You go in on something like this when it tells you to go in on it. And it will. This sort of chart is, I suppose it's my forte. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that I've kind of got a knack for. And you have to be patient with it. You just have to wait. And if it's already gone up 200, 300, 400% by the time your entry point is ready and matured and confirmed, so be it. Do you know what I mean? What's 500%? Missing out on 500% on something that potentially could do another 1,000 after that. So no big deal if I miss out on that. I'd rather rotate into something like this when the time's right, and the time won't be right now, but we might be looking at a signal in the next in about a month from now, so we'll keep our eyes on it definitely, and I'll be making videos on it, I'm sure, closer to the time. If we get a buy signal on it, of course I'll make a video on it. The last video I made on this one was not very well received, and that's fair enough, but I'm not going to lie to people to get views. I've never been one to chase views, but I had to say stuff. Right, and that is that, I'm afraid. I'll leave it there. But like I say, if you do fancy a bit of this live stream action, I do it pretty regularly, and it's Wednesdays and Saturdays, but usually 7 o'clock until we run out of questions. Right, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see some of you on Wednesday, and